Today we are going to discuss about the Battle of Plassey. This okay. Here we have Battle of Plassey, and this is fought on 23rd of June 1756. This battle is one of the most comprehensive and very important battle fought on Indian soil on the arrival of the British. This battle will give the British what is most required for any power to have or to establish the power in any place, and that is revenue. It will give them a perpetual source of revenue. Before this, the Britishers or the East India Company was rather a trading company who used to bring bullions, gold and money from London and England, and they used to buy things from the Indian merchants and they used to sell back in Europe and England. Now, after Battle of Plassey, this thing will take a very fast U-turn, and the entire state of affair will be changed from here onwards. But before going for that, we should know about the history of Bengal. So Bengal used to be a part of the Mughal Empire. It used to be governed by a Nawab or a governor on behalf of the central Mughal ruler. But in 1722, there was a governor of Bengal whose name was Murshid Quli Khan. This man was established as the first Bengal Nawab. He was the first Bengal Nawab. Though he was acclaimed to be the first Nawab of Bengal, yet he did not sever his ties with the central Mughal ruler. He used to send the Mughal ruler his due money that was required, the revenue that was being generated from Bengal, and the amount that had to be sent to the Mughal ruler was sent to them. The due connection between the central Mughal Empire and the Bengal province was maintained during his part. But in 1740, the governor of Bihar province, Ali Khan, got control over the Bengal province. Governor of Bengal, Ali Khan, got the control of Bengal and Bihar at the same time. He killed Sarfaraz Khan, who was a descendant of Murshid Quli Khan. And after this incident, now Ali Khan was the sole powerful in this area. And following the lineage of Ali Khan, in 1756, a young Nawab ascended the throne of Bengal, and he was Siraj ud Dawla. Now Siraj ud Dawla was young. He had a hot head like most of us, the young people, have, but he was a very able administrator. He saw, ever since his childhood, he have seen that his grandfather and the people and the Nawab before them were giving money and gifts to the East India Company's people, to the officers of the East India Company, and he was really irked by this thing. He didn't like this. Why should the Nawab be giving money and gifts to the British East India Company people, the officials? and he resented it inherently. And this resentment will finally take a turn to the Battle of Plassey. With time, as things went on, there were two major powers that were trying to have their foothold in Bengal. One was the French, and the other was the British. French and the British have been perennial enemy and foe. Even in they have been fighting. French and British have been fighting in Europe. They have been fighting in United States America during this period, because in 1783 America will be having, the United States America will be having their independence. So before this, they were fighting, the US and the French and the British were fighting over US colonies and Canadian colonies. Even now we have a large section of French-speaking Canadian and British-speaking Canadian, and because of this, the French and the British language, the federal structure of Canada was established. Okay, fine. Going back. So here in Bengal, we had the French and the British. These two were the then the commercial exploiters, or the commercial man, or the tradesman who wanted to have the foothold in Bengal. So they were fighting among themselves. French people started fortification of the factory at Chandanagore. This is in Bengal. This is near Calcutta. And so did British. What British started doing was they started fortification of Fort William. Now, while talking of factories, there are certain things that we have to understand when we speak of factories. What do you mean by factories? In books we will come across this term factories, but nowhere you won't find this in much of the books what factories mean. What is the meaning of factories? The factories here doesn't mean that the British and the French were having industry in Bengal. This does not mean the modern factory. Factories came from the word factor. See, what happened was that this is India and this is Bengal. When ships used to come here, the British ships used to come here, they, in this region, they used to have certain houses or godown sort of thing, such arrangement during that time. When ships used to reach here, their goods used to be unloaded, and there used to be people who take the readings of what have entered the port, how much have entered the port. All those had to be maintained in a khata book or such kind of thing. And these people who were maintaining these khatas and all the calculations, basically all the hisab kitab who were doing, they were called the factors. And these factors led to the word factories, where the factors worked. So basically these were the trading ports. But when the British and the French started fortification, now they've started a fortification of the factories. The Siraj-ud-Dowlah did not like this, and he asked each of French and British to stop fortification of the forts. The French listened to him and they stopped the fortification immediately. Oh, with some time, they stopped it eventually. But the British were cunning. British did not stop it. Moreover, what they did was they put arms and guns on the forts. Like we used to see, like the forts that we have, like they used to have this kind of thing in the movies we must be seeing. कुछ इस तरह होता है. It is the fort, right? Their gate there. This is the fort. It's the gate. Here you will see they have placed cannons and military personnel is moving with guns and all those things. So see, the thing is, you are staying within Bengal. Arms will be allowed only to the army and the sepoys of the Bengal province or the Mughal rulers' army here, because this is a Mughal province. But when the Britishers are having arms here, this was a cause suspicion for Sirajuddaula, and he immediately asked them to stop with this putting guns on the forts. But the British did not listen to him. To add on to this, there was one gentleman called Krishna Ballav. Now, what happened was Krishna Ballav used to work under the Nawab Sirajuddaula, and he had done financial fraud in the court of Sirajuddaula, and then later he ran away to the British. He did financial fraud and then ran to the British, and the British gave him shelter. And Sirajuddaula obviously would not like it. Like this, someone takes up money and then someone runs, and the other person is giving shelter to the person, that it is always going to be on a bad note. So that's why this is the second reason why Sirajuddaula did not like the British. Now, this third and very important character. Here we will come across the name Khasiti. Khasiti Begum. The Khasiti Begum is the aunt of Sirajuddaula, and she laid claim over the throne of Bengal, and she wanted to be the Nawab, or her lineage to be the Nawab of Bengal. And to add on to the problem, she was supported by the British. See, this thing of support, this game of support that the British gives them, or the Europeans gives to the Indians, and they then displaces the original king or the Nawab or the prince, and then they establish a puppet rule. This is not of today's game. The Europeans have been doing it for a very long time. We can see it here. So Khasiti Begum is aunt of Siraj. She wanted to be the Nawab. British said, okay, fine, we will help you. And this was not liked by Sirajuddaula. Now, another reason was that Dastaks. Dastaks were, next important is Dastaks. The Dastaks were kind of passes or permits, or passes that were issued to the East India Company in the capacity of the company. It was not issued to the capacity of an individual officer of the company. It means that East India Company were permitted, as a company was permitted to do trade in Bengal, but these passes could not be used by the officers, could not be used by the officers of East India Company for their personal trade. So what happened was that these officers were from England. So what happens was that when the East India Company's trade ships used to come to England, to India to sell the goods, along with them, what happens is that these higher ranking officers, they too had their own personal trade going on. It was so to say that the ships carrying the goods also carry the goods that these officers used to sell personally in the territory of Bengal. So Dustaks were only issued to enhance or help the selling of East India Company's items, but not the personal items or personal trade that the officers of the East India Company could be using. I hope this is clear. Now these are few very important points because of which the animosity between the Nawab and the British East India Company was getting more and more elevated. So in the meantime, what happened was that Siraj attacked Fort William, seized it. He attacked Fort William, seized it, and later it was put under the observation of an officer. An officer is put in charge of the Fort William, and name of that officer is Manik Chand. But what happens is that is the arrival. Until this point, also we had the Black Hole tragedy. We had the Black Hole tragedy. In this, what happened was that Siraj, it is said, the Siraj captured all those British officers and workers in Fort William, and he put them in a small room. Bolted it from outside, and the officers inside died out of suffocation. This is called the Black Hole tragedy. Now, aftermath of this, what happened was the arrival of what happened after this was the arrival of Robert Clive. Now, Robert Clive proved to be a very able general. This man started in the East India Company as a clerk, and he retired, or rather he went back as the governor of Bengal. From the lowest level to the topmost level, he scaled up only because of its talent. Robert Clive comes back. He makes plans, and in this situation, Mir Zafar, the commander-in-chief of Siraj army, was handled well by Robert Clive. Mir Zafar was promised the Nawab of Bengal in return for Mir Zafar not taking part in the war that was fought between Robert Clive and Siraj-ud-Daulah. So on 23rd June 1957. So on 23rd June 1957, the Battle of Plassey was fought. Siraj was defeated, and Mir Zafar was made the Nawab of Bengal. Once Mir Zafar became the Nawab of Bengal, now this is the most fascinating part. Here, see, earlier the British had taken control of the South Indian peninsula after Battle of Vandy Wash, the French withdrawal, Anglo-French rivalry in the south. Thing was that the southern mainland was not that fertile as the plains of Bengal were. The plains of Bengal were very fertile. It was very good. You sow anything, it happens there, and it was a major chunk of revenue generating place. So Bengal was now under the control of the British. Mir Zafar, to show his gratitude to British, gave the zamindari of 24 Parganas. This is a district in Bengal, Parganas, to the British, and hence British won its first right to encash upon India. This is where the British started to take out the money from India, the golden chiria. This is where it all started, and this went on till 1760. In 1760, Mir Zafar, because see, the British wanting became more and more, because they were now the sole power. They have removed it. The central Mughal ruler in 1757, the Mughal Empire was crumbling. They had Nadir Shah's invasion in 1748. Then there's Ahmad Shah. Then there's the third battle, Panipat, in 1761. The entire Mughal Empire was crumbled. The Mughal Empire was now dependent on the Marathas. We will come to it in the later lectures. They were the entire Mughal dependent on the Marathas now. So Mughal did not have anything they could have done. So in this respect, Mir Zafar he became a puppet much more than what he had expected to be. And 1760, he too was fed up, and the British replaced him with his son-in-law, Mir Qasim. And Mir Qasim was made the governor. And as soon as Mir Qasim became the governor, he, to show his gratitude, gave away the revenue rights of three places: Midnapur, Chittagong, and Burdwan. Chittagong is a very important port of Bangladesh now, and along with Kolkata, now British has another important port, that is Chittagong, because now they have 2 points of entry, Chittagong and Kolkata, into India's eastern front. Midnapur was under them, and Burdwan came. These two places, the revenue generation was given to them, and also a part of Sylhet district of present Bangladesh was also given away. And first we see Mir Qasim Mir Zafar gave the rights of revenue for 24 Fargana. They got money, the British got money, and now the British got 3 important towns and cities of eastern India, and there was no stopping them. Mir Qasim, after becoming, in 1760, once Mir Qasim became the governor, was the Nawab, we would rather say now, the Nawab of Bengal, he shifted its capital from Murshidabad to Munger. Murshidabad, present day Bengal, to Munger. Munger was in Bihar. To Munger. And this was it is said that Mir Qasim was the most able Nawab after Ali Wali Khan. He had a vision, he was visionary, but his vision too could not survive for long. He too was finally frustrated with all the British Eastern Company's officials' demand, and finally he fled from he fled and he set up a tripartite alliance with Shuja-ud-Dowla. Shuja-ud-Dowla, he was the Nawab of Awadh. Awadh is present as UP. He was the and with Shah Alam II. There was this tripartite alliance, Mir Qasim, Shah Alam II, and Shah Alam II was the Mughal emperor. Now this is happening in 1964. Let us remind ourselves, in 1764, and let us remind ourselves that in 1761, the Mughal emperor, along with the Marathas, faced a severe defeat in the hands of the Afghan invader Ahmad Shah Abdali. So we can say the Shah Alam II was not much of a powerful person back then. The Mughals did not have. This was just a status to be imposed to show that yes, the Mughals were with us, because the Mughals were already disseminated, and along with that, in 1761, the Marathas lost a heavy. They faced a heavy blow, and around 40 to 50,000 of the soldiers were defeated and died in the third battle of Panipat. So the Marathas, upon whom the Mughals and the Shah Alam II was dependent on, were of no match to the British then. And Mir Qasim did not have much of an army of his own, and Shuja-ud-Dowla was just not that much of a powerful ally. So this shows, yet we can say, the three most powerful allies that were surviving at that point of time in the North India, of course, Shuja-ud-Dowla, Shah Alam II, Mir Qasim. At least apparently they were the powerhouse of India. Yet in 1764, in the Battle of Buxar, the match in the Battle of Buxar, in 1764, and the British won it. And along with it, the moment the British won the Battle of Buxar, this asserted the British absolute power on the Indian subcontinent, because the South India was already under them. They had the Karnataka, the Carnatic Tamil Nadu region, the Kerala region. They had the Nizam with them, and now the Marathas were already having disputes among themselves. We'll see this in the following. In 1772, Raghunath Rao goes on and have a pact with the British, and then we'll have the Anglo-Maratha fights starting in 1772. So everything was coming. The entire situation in India was a haywire. No one knew what was going to happen, and British took the most advantage of the situation, and they showed, and they capitalized on the timeline, and what is later known as the British Empire of India was established with this Battle of Buxar, because with this, the entire North India, the revenue generating portion of India, remember the revenue generating portion of this is the Great Plains. It was the Great Plains. This was the Great Plains. This entire region, the Bengal we are talking about, also included Orissa and Bihar back then, and this was Awadh. This was taken. This entire stretch of North India was under dam. And this is Bengali, of course. So this entire North Indian Great Plains, through which Ganga was flowing. This is a stretch of land through which Ganga flows, and this was a revenue generating land piece of India, and British had a hold on this. The entire revenue would be generated. Along with it, after defeat of the Battle of Buxar and British victory in the Battle of Buxar, the British went for two treaties. One treaty was with the Mughal emperor Shah Alam. See, though Shah Alam was not the king, was not that powerful, yet he represented the Mughal for the last 200 years. The India that was there was the Mughal Empire, so as to say. So the people looked up to the Mughal Empire. We'll see it again in 1857 when the second war, the first war of independence happens. Mughal Pandey starts it. The people or the rulers of the native princes looks up to Bahadur Shah Zafar II because they are apparently the emperor of Mughal Empire, that is the Mughal India. So Shah Alam II had that respect. He could get a respect because he was a Mughal emperor. So there were two treaties. One was Shah Alam II, and from Shah Alam, and this treaty was the Treaty of Allahabad. The Treaty of Allahabad, 1765. According to this treaty, the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa, the Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa were handed over to the British. Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa. So they got the Diwani rights. The meaning of this is that once you got a Diwani rights, you had the revenue at your hand. The entire revenue collection system of the most revenue generating part of the country was under British now. And the second treaty was with Mir Qasim. The second treaty was with Mir Qasim, and as per this treaty, the British got the right to appoint a deputy Subadar. Now see, Subadar, Subha is like province in the British, in the Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire was broken down into smaller subhas, and the administrator was called a Subadar, and they used to have deputy Subadar. So they appointed a deputy Subadar, and this deputy Subadar could not be removed. This deputy Subadar could not be removed by the Nawab without the permission of the British. And they installed another puppet here, and that puppet was Nizam-ud-Dawla. The Nizam-ud-Dawla was the Nawab, or the new puppet Nawab of Bengal, and they appointed Raza Khan as a deputy Subadar. Actually, with it, a new system of administration started. The system was that Raza Khan, see, both were the puppets, but Raza Khan were on the good books of the British. Raza Khan actually, though he was deputy Subadar, but Raza Khan actually wielded the power. He was deputy Subadar, he wielded the power, and Nizam-ud-Dawla, the Nawab Bengal, was just for namesake. And here what happens is that the British controlled the entire Bengal province through two persons. One was Nizam-ud-Dawla and Raza Khan. The British did not, here we can see that the British did not have an iota of responsibility because both the rulers were from the Indian subcontinent, Raza Khan and Nizam-ud-Dawla. But what British had was the power. They got the revenue, they got the power. They were encashing on the revenue, they got the power. They stopped bringing bullions from England anymore. And on the other hand, One hand, they had the power, and on the other hand, they did not have the responsibility. This was a golden opportunity for British. What else do you need? You have power and you don't need responsibility. What more could you ask for? And this system was called the dual government of Bengal, and it went on till 1772 when Warren Hastings comes and dissolves the system. So this was a dual system government of Bengal. So with this, we come to a conclusion for the Battle of Plassey and British conquest of Bengal, and how the British took over the most productive region of India, the Great Plains. Thank you for being here with me. I'll be following up with many videos covering entire course of civil services, and do share, like, comment and subscribe my channel. Thank you.